did raise a matter on the safety of maize at the Food Reserve Agency depot countrywide in view of the commencement of the rain season, and this was admissible, and the Minister of Agriculture did make a response on the floor of the House.
Another matter which came from Nalolo Member of Parliament, Mr. Imanga Wamima, was on the government's preparedness to combat the outbreak of cholera countrywide. This matter was admissible. Madam Speaker directed the Minister of Health to issue a ministerial statement on Thursday, 20 November 2025.
And the Minister of Technology and Science did render a ministerial statement on the progress made in the construction of communication towers across the country, following a directive by the Honorable Madam Speaker in response to an urgent matter without notice raised by Mr. Lufeyo Ngoma, Member of Parliament for Lumezi, on Friday, 7th November 2025. The Minister further acquainted the House with the factors that led to the non-availability of network in various areas and measures that are being taken to address the challenges. The House then considered questions for oral answer and number 70 to 73 under Standing Order number 80.
After consideration of those questions for oral answer, Kankoyo Member of Parliament, Mr. Hudson Mabeta, moved the motion urging the House to adopt the report of the Committee on Youth, Sport and Child Matters on the accession of the optional protocol to the Convention on the Rights of the Child on the Involvement of Children in Armed Conflict for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 11th November 2025. And this motion was seconded by Lukasia Member of Parliament, Mr. George Chisanga. When a question was put, this motion was adopted. And also notice was taken at 17:02 hours that quorum not formed. Madam First Deputy Speaker ordered the bells to be rung, House counted, and quorum having been formed, business resumed.
And on the orders of the day for yesterday, the House did consider the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025, and we must mention that this bill was considered in a committee, so it went through the committee stage with amendments, and report stage is expected to be taken this morning.
After consideration of that bill, there was resumption of debate on a motion of supply, a motion of 4th November 2025 that was moved by the Minister of Finance and National Planning, that the House do now resolves into Committee of Supply on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2026 to 31st December 2026, presented to the National Assembly in September 2025. And it being 18:55 hours, Madam First Deputy Speaker interrupted the proceedings, and debate on the motion stood adjourned. And on the floor of the House was Shangombo Member of Parliament, Mr. Mubika. And so the House adjourned accordingly yesterday at 18:57 hours. And so this is business that was considered on the floor of the House yesterday, Thursday, 13th November 2025. Just now we shift our attention and we look at today's order paper.
Yes, Matimba, today's order paper, we have one ministerial statement, we have one government bill, we have 4 questions for oral answer under Standing Order number 80, and we also have one motion as well as one bill to be considered at report stage. And just now we have a look at the details of these items to be considered on the floor today.
The ministerial statement will be presented by the Minister of Transport and Logistics. This will be on the Tazara Revitalization Concession Agreement. And there is expected to be one bill to be presented by the Minister of Home Affairs and International Security, and this is the Immigration Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025, and the object of the bill is to continue the existence of the Immigration Department and redefine its functions, provide for the appointment of immigration border guards and provide for their functions, as well as regulate the entry of persons into and departure of persons from the Republic, regulate the remaining of immigrants within the Republic, repeal and replace the Immigration and Deportation Act of 2010, and also provide for the matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing. We also have a motion that is expected to be moved by Chasefu, Member of Parliament, Mr. Mishek Nyambose, urging the House to adopt the report of the Zambian delegation to the 68th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, CPC, held in Bridgetown, Barbados, from 5th to 12th October 2025 for the 5th session of the 13th National Assembly, laid on the table of the House on Wednesday, 12th November 2025.
And on the orders of the day, we expect the Small Claims Court Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 16 of 2025 to come at report stage, and then after that the House is expected to resolve into the Committee of Supply, and this is where they will continue to debate the motion of supply of 4th November 2025 on the estimates of revenue and expenditure for the year 1st January 2026 to 31st December 2026, presented to the House by the Minister of Finance and National Planning in September 2025. So that is business of the House today. And just now we cross over to the floor of the House. Good morning.
Honorable Members of Parliament, Madam Speaker.
And sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy in unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We want freedom's fight, oh, one, strong and free. Africa is our own motherland, fashioned with and blessed by those to blend. Let us all her people join as one, brothers under the sun, oh, one, strong and free. One land and one nation is our cry. Dignity and peace in Zambia's sky, like a noble eagle in its flight. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to God, praise be, bless our great Zambia, Zambia, Zambia. Green and we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, oh, one, strong and free.
Prayer. Almighty God, who in your infinite wisdom and providential goodness has appointed the offices of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to consider with your abundant favor us your servants, whom you've been pleased to call to the performance of such important responsibilities in this land. Let your blessing descend upon us here in Parliament assembled, and grant that we may, as in your presence, treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you've committed to our charge. Amen.
Division. Bells are ringing. It seems the bells are ringing. The quorum hasn't yet been constituted. It is a requirement that 1/3 of members of Parliament must be present in the House for any business to transact. And so once the quorum has been constituted, we expect business of the House to commence. And today on the order paper, we have one ministerial statement, presentation of one government bill. We have 4 questions for oral answer, understanding order 80, one motion that is expected to be moved by Chasefu Member of Parliament, Mr. Mishek Nyambose. And we have one bill which is coming at report stage, and we also have a resumption of debate on the motion on supply.
Order, honorable members. I have 2 announcements to make. Honorable members, I have received communication to the effect that in the absence of our honor, the Vice President, who is attending to other government business, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Ambrose L. Lufuma MP, has been appointed acting leader of government business in the House from today, Friday, 14th November 2025, until further notice. I thank you. The second announcement, honorable members, as you may recall, I announced that the Interparliamentary Union, that is IPU, Zambia National Group, will hold its annual general meeting, AGM, on Monday, 10th November 2025. However, it is regrettable that the AGM could not take place due to a lack of quorum. In view of the foregoing, I would like to inform all members that the AGM will now take place on Wednesday, 19th November 2025 at 8:30 hours in the amphitheater at Parliament Buildings. I would like to encourage all members to take this announcement seriously by attending the AGM. I thank you. Urgent matters without notice. The Honorable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. My matter, an urgent matter without notice, is directed to the acting leader of government business. Madam Speaker, Chama District was severely affected by the devastating drought during the 2024-2025 farming season. Madam Speaker, this has greatly affected the household food security, as many people are actually surviving on mangoes and also wild fruits, which is posing a very, very serious health and nutritional hazards. Madam Speaker, you always ask us to engage before bringing these matters on the floor of the House. I personally engaged the Vice President over this matter, and again, Madam Speaker, I wrote again the Vice President and the DMMU, informing them the urgent need for government intervention. And even before that, Madam Speaker, we were with some ministers in Chama. Honorable Kabuswe, when he was guest of honor, the Provincial Minister for Eastern Province, and the President Hakainde Hichilema as political advisor. And I brought this issue to the attention of government officials. And they promised the people of Chama that no one is going to die of hunger. But today, Madam Speaker, is it 14th December, our people do not have relief for food, because they don't have, most of the families don't have household income. So I seek your serious indulgence in this matter, because the farming season has started. How do people become productive on empty stomachs? People are leaving their farms now, wandering about in the boma, looking for food from their relatives. So this is a very serious matter which needs immediate government attention. I seek your serious indulgence. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Chama. This matter seems to be an odd matter. For an urgent matter to be considered is something that is raised within 24 hours of its occurrence. So I would advise the Honorable Member for Chama North to come up with an urgent question. Thank you. We make progress. I have permitted the Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics to present a ministerial statement. The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Madam Speaker.
Order, honorable members.
Madam Speaker, I have the high privilege and distinct honor to thank you most sincerely for according me this opportunity to update this august House and the nation through the session Republic of China. Of one of Africa's greatest symbols of freedom, friendship, and economic independence of the Tanzania-Zambia Railway Authority, commonly known as TAZARA. Madam Speaker, TAZARA was born in a time of struggle. Following the unilateral declaration of independence by the minority self-governing regime of Ian Douglas Smith in southern Rhodesia, Zambia's southern routes to the sea were cut off. In the Uhuru spirit of our Tanzanian brothers and sisters and the generous solidarity of the People's Republic of China, Zambia secured a sovereign lifeline to the Indian Ocean through the port of Dar es Salaam. This 1,860-kilometer railway, built between 1970 and 1975, stood as a monument of Pan-African unity and South-to-South cooperation, linking our mineral-rich copper belt to the world. However, Madam Speaker, over the decades, this once vital artery suffered severe decline due to chronic underinvestment, equipment failure, and management challenges. Freight volumes dropped from a peak of 1.2 million metric tons in 1986 to less than 100,000 metric tons in recent years. The railway that once sustained our economy had become a burden on the public purse. Both the Zambian and Tanzanian governments therefore resolved that a private sector-led revitalization was imperative. Madam Speaker, after extensive consultations and negotiations among the tripartite partnerships of the three governments, a 31-year concession agreement has been signed with the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation. The total investment amounts to $1.4 billion United States dollars as follows: $1.17 billion for initial capital equipment and rehabilitation, and $238 million for periodic reinvestment to ensure long-term sustainability. This investment will deliver a complete rehabilitation of all the 1,860 kilometers of track between Dar es Salaam and Kapirimposhi. B, a modern signaling system. C, a new modern fleet of 34 locomotives, 760 wagons, and 16 passenger coaches, together with a state-of-the-art logistics inland port at Kapirimposhi, including bonded warehouses, customs clearance facilities, and cargo consolidation services, thus transforming Kapirimposhi from a simple terminus into a dynamic logistics gateway for Zambia and the region. Madam Speaker, the concessionaire will commence physical rehabilitation works after the groundbreaking ceremony scheduled to take place sometime next week or soon thereafter. The construction phase is expected to last 3 years, covering the full rehabilitation of the line, development of the logistics hub at Kapirimposhi, and the modernization as well as equipping of dedicated berths for Tazara's exclusive use at the port of Dar es Salaam. Upon completion, freight volumes are projected to increase from approximately 400,000 metric tons to about 2.4 million metric tons per annum within 2 years of full operation, and to exceed 3 million metric tons within 5 years. Madam Speaker, this government, under the able and visionary leadership of Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, made it clear that the welfare of Tazara workers was to be safeguarded at all material times during and after the negotiation period. Accordingly, A, all workers will be retained. I'll repeat, all workers will be retained. B, Tazara will continue to exist as a binational entity. The concessionaire is, as unequivocally stated in the agreement, legally bound to absorb between 200 and 300 qualified Tazara employees, and therefore, Madam Speaker, the 200 to 300 workers will be moved to the China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, will also have to be severed or indeed paid their full terminal benefits. Moreover, the new operations and the logistics hub are expected to create hundreds of additional jobs in freight handling, customs, warehousing, and security. The concession also provides for major rehabilitation every 10 years, ensuring that both infrastructure and rolling stock remain in good and pristine condition throughout the 31-year concession period. Madam Speaker, this agreement delivers both direct and indirect financial benefits to the Zambian Treasury. Firstly, Zambia through Tazara will receive a guaranteed annual concession fee from the first year of operation. Secondly, the government through Tazara will earn a share of gross revenue from freight operations throughout the concession period. Thirdly, the revitalization will reduce the cost of imports and exports, enhancing competitiveness for our mining and agriculture sectors and saving our road network from the heavy damage caused by excessive trucking. The resulting economic activities will expand Zambia's tax base through new business formation, job creation, and lower logistics costs, thereby stimulating overall national growth. Madam Speaker, the House may wish to note that the concession includes time-bound tax incentives, including a 0% corporate tax rate for the initial 5 years of operation. Let me clarify that these incentives are not giveaways, but strategic instruments designed to make this $1.4 billion investment bankable and attractive. In global practice, Such incentives are standard for large long-term infrastructure concessions, especially in high-risk environments. The incentives are progressive and phased out as the project stabilizes, ensuring long-term fiscal returns for the nation while enabling the private partner to recover its heavy upfront costs. Madam Speaker, the revitalization of Tazara fits squarely with the new Dawn government's vision of a land-linked Zambia. A modern, efficient railway system integrated with road, water, and air transport will position Zambia as the logistics and distribution hub of Southern and Central Africa as we have long envisioned. The Kapirimposhi Logistics Hub will anchor value addition, storage, and trade facilitation, ensuring that goods do not merely pass through Zambia, but are processed, packaged, and exported from within. This is about economic transformation from raw export dependency to an integrated logistics and industrial economy. Madam Speaker, the revival of Tazara represents the reclamation of a historic asset for a modern purpose. It fulfills the original dream of our founding fathers, Kenneth David Kaunda, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, and Chairman Mao Zedong, not only as a line of freedom, but now as a powerful engine of regional trade, job creation, and shared responsibility. Our government remains committed to transparency, accountability, and ensuring that every Zambian benefits from this landmark project. With the Tazara revitalization now firmly on track, Zambia's future as a land-linked, industrialized, and globally connected nation is within reach. Madam Speaker, at this juncture, kindly permit me to yield back to your esteemed self as I thank you and all the honorable members for your most kind attention. I thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members are now free to ask questions on points of clarification on the ministerial statement presented by the Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics. The Honorable Member for Chairman North.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Thank you, Honorable Minister, for that ministerial statement. First and foremost, I'm happy to note that the interest of Tazara workers is top on the agenda. And we hope that we will not have workers being laid off as a result of this initiative. My question, Madam Speaker, Tazara was designed to move at 110 kilometers per hour. But due to all the infrastructure and other operational issues, speed has been going below 30 kilometers per hour. So now with this investment, Honorable Minister, I want to find out what will be the speed. Because we know that in other countries like Tanzania, the train is going at 160 kilometers. So what is the expected speed once the rehabilitation of Tazara takes effect? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for that question. The Honourable Member wants to cast aspersions as to the efficaciousness of the agreement that was signed. There shall be no room for what the Honourable Member wants to speculate as potential job losses along the way. The ministerial statement is very emphatic about our plans for a revitalized Tazara, unlike what we have gone through in the recent past. Allow me also to say that the Honourable Member asks a rather unusual question, wanting to ascertain the speed of a train at which Tazara will be operating. I think that there are more pertinent questions that the honorable member could have found to ask this minister. First of all, I have stated very clearly that we shall be rehabilitating the track in its entirety, the entire 1,860 kilometers. That therefore means that with technologically advanced locomotives, Tazara will be able to operate efficiently and will be able to achieve indeed maximum speeds of somewhere around 120 kilometers. But you must know, honorable member, that speed also is a determination of the existing, and prevailing circumstances on that particular day. So that is a variable that can either be decreased or indeed increased to operate optimally, as long as what we have is a seamless flow of cargo, and that we envisage that operations shall normalize to an extent that we will have 2 freight trains being dispatched on a daily basis, one from Dar es Salaam, another from Kapirimposhi. Indeed, this is going to turn around the economic fortunes of this great asset, Tazara. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister, please. I had announced that the honorable members are free to ask questions on points of clarification. So let them ask any question, so long it's attached or linked to the ministerial statement. All questions are important. The honorable member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and we appreciate your guidance. Indeed, all the questions we pose are pertinent. But before I pose the question, Madam Speaker, to the Honorable Minister, I just want to take this rare opportunity to commend him as one of the leaders on the Copper Belt for being brave to stand up and tell your leader the truth when others opted to grandstand after that very unfortunate incident that happened in Chingola. That's what leadership should be, and that's how you should care for your leaders. Madam Speaker, I think my colleague was trying to ask, because the modern technology will entail that the rail track rehabilitation and the modern way of rail lines is powered by electricity. So we hear you that you are going to rehabilitate. First of all, the assurance that you have given to the workers under Tazara is commendable, but we'd like you to speak more on how this movement from Tazara to the new company is going to be. But my main question is a rider to the question posed by Honorable Mtacharo. Can you clarify to us, when you say rehabilitation of the entire track of more than 1,800, and we know that Tanzania, for example, most of their rail tracks are powered by electricity. They are electrical powered. Are we likely going to see that? Because that's what will determine the speed at which these locomotives that you are going to bring will be moving at. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member. First of all, just to also make a comment about his commendation for what he refers to as my bravery. Rather than really speak to what he calls bravery, I think that the Honourable Member should have seized the moment to merely place on record a condemnation of any attempts of unruly people out there trying to play around with the presidency. The presidency is an institution that all Zambians ought to revere, and that not look at the occupant of that particular office. And that this country, through this August House, must equally commend His Excellency the President. Because if you recall and you heard my statement, I referred to an incident where a former, now late Commander-in-Chief in Frederick Chiluba, when something similar happened at Kagwe, he issued a directive of people to be sorted out. And we all recall how the defense forces moved in and they gave a serious beating to citizens. So President Hakainde Hichilema, in his action, really demonstrated that he is a serious, humane Zambian who will not exercise, force on his people. And that, I think, is what must be placed on record. Coming to the substantive question by the Honourable Member, he speaks of electric powering of locomotives as determinants of the sort of speeds that a train may operate at. I think that Zambians must be very, very clear in our minds that not long ago, under a previous administration, there was fantasies of bullet trains in this country. Yes. Bullet trains and electric trains were promised. Euro bonds were put into, railway systems, albeit with no results whatsoever. If anything, we hear that the $120 million injected in Zambia Railways dissipated in thin air. Now, this administration believes that you must be able, first of all, that before you can walk, you have to crawl. Before you can run, you must walk. Let us fix that which is broken at the moment. We cannot dream about electric trains when our current rail systems are moving between 15 and 30 kilometers per hour. This administration is realistic that development is a process, that we have now taken this giant leap forward, that we fix Tazara, let it move efficiently, let us be able to manage our cargo, let us be able to be afforded an opportunity to implement statutory instrument number 35, which speaks about moving heavy cargo from the road onto the rails. I think that once this is done, indeed Zambia may be given an opportunity in the not too distant future that perhaps we too may be able to see electric trains. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Minister has given a statement here. And for my own clarity, this country is a state in which the National Assembly of Zambia prevails. The National Assembly of Zambia is the House of Representatives. These representatives are representing the majority, the population of Zambia. So I just want to find out from the Honorable Minister, this concession, from the way he has explained, it's a big deal. But it raises a worry in me. He has mentioned of a number of years where there won't be payment of income, meaning the government, the Zambian government, will not earn revenues for a number of years. Now, Honorable Madam Speaker, a concession of this nature, wouldn't it have been, okay, can I use the word prudent, to present it to this House so that the House is made aware to approve? No, it's me, Honorable Minister. So I just need clarity. If it is not, you tell, no, it's not. Because there will be a loss of revenue which this country is looking for. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Before the Honorable Minister comes in, there was an indication for a point of order. The Honorable Member for Shiwangandu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for permitting me to raise on this very important point of order. And Madam Speaker, I want to press it on record that publicly, all of us, just like many other meetings where Zambians have condemned the attack on the presidents that occurred in Chingola, because it's un-Zambian and it must not be tolerated. Madam Speaker, my point of order pursuant to Standing Order 71 is to on the Honorable Minister. My question was simplified. All we wanted to find out is how the rehabilitation is going to be done, and if indeed that rehabilitation will include powering the rail tracks electronically, because, and he knows that that's what determines the speed, because if it's going to still revert back to diesel-propelled engines, there will be no improvement at all. So the question is simple, Madam Speaker. I posed was to understand the improvement that will be done to the rail tracks and what sort of, locomotives and trucks that is going to improve. But was in order, Madam Speaker, to avoid simply responding to that question like my brother asked here. I seek your serious ruling.
Thank you. The Honorable Minister is still on the floor. I'm going to give him chance as he responds to the Honorable Member for Kalabo Central, maybe to add further on the question that was raised by the Honorable Member for Shiwanganda.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it is standard practice that follow-up questions ought to be really restricted to the spirit of the statement that has been given on this floor of the House. Diesel propulsion in locomotives is completely different from electric propulsion. And I speak with authority as an engineer on this particular subject. There is nowhere in my statement where I've referred to potential transfer to electric propulsion. I have limited myself to explicitly state that there shall be 34 technologically advanced locomotives, and those are diesel propelled. So we are not going to delve into the aspect of whether or not we have to, perhaps in future introduce an electric line. Electric line will mean a reconfiguration of the entire line. There ought to be an overhead line to support that propulsion that the Honourable Member refers to. And I think that this, Madam Speaker, must really be emphasized, that Honourable Members ought to pay attention as we give these national documents on the floor of this House. Coming to the Honourable Member, Honourable Miyutu, who laments, first of all, the undisputed fact that we are a state. Yes, we are a state, that is undisputed. And how he infers that because of what perhaps as tax incentives, particularly on the 0% corporate tax over a period, I did state, Madam Speaker, for the record, that this was a business attribute where we're trying to incentivize those on one hand may appear to forego certain taxes, but in the end, Madam Speaker, this is what attracts investments, and at the end of the day, that is what drives development. And I think that this is how this new dawn government is trying to run this country. Bring about incentives, bring about a climate that will be able to bring in the necessary capital in order for the country to develop. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Mbabala.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for this very exciting statement. Honourable Minister, you have talked about strengthening Zambia's land-linked capacity in Kapiri, with a view to having those warehouses and the like, so that goods can be gotten from there. is your ministry then thinking about working with the Zambia Revenue Authority to create a dry port in Kapiri to the extent that we could see more business in that town and province, such as our people collecting their cars and other transport related items from Kapiri as opposed to going all the way to Dar es Salaam? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honorable Member for Mbawala, my brother and my friend. My brother indeed asked a very, good question, which I guess brings out the essence of what I described as a logistics hub establishment at Kapirimposhi. In not so many words, Honorable Member, that is precisely what we are creating. That may be termed as a logistics hub. In actual fact, it's a dry port. And when you talk about warehousing, I did make reference to aspects of customs clearance. Now you do know that just by that nomenclature, okay, that is the preserve of the Zambia Revenue Authority, and indeed many, many other government departments which must be present in that particular logistics center to be able to pre-clear goods and consolidate goods so that our freight company, Tazara, will not be sitting and waiting for the hassle of having to wait for cargo that is being processed. I think that the core responsibility of Tazara will be to move the cargo. And so when I made reference to cargo consolidation, I made reference to customs clearances, it is precisely responding to that particular need. And the honorable members will actually do well to realize that no wonder His Excellency the President, when he first formed his government, he had reclassified what used to be transport and communications to transport and logistics. That is the logistics component of my ministry, Madam Speaker, which since independence has been absent, okay? And because we are a land-linked country, we can ill afford not to pay attention to aspects of cargo management for us to be able to achieve the seamless movement of not only Zambia's cargo, but also the regional cargo, which we have to process as we promote regional trade and integration. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Lunte.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for according me this opportunity to raise a point of order on the Honorable Minister on the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, my point of order is in relation to the question asked to him by the Honorable Member of Parliament for Kalabo. Madam Speaker, Article 210(2) of the Constitution of Zambia says, and I quote, "A major state asset shall be sold, transferred, or otherwise disposed of as prescribed, subject to the approval of the National Assembly, signified by a vote of at least 2/3 of the members of Parliament." Madam Speaker, the question from my honorable brother from Kalabo was very clear. This is a state asset. Over 30 years of transfer to a concessionaire is a significant period that the state will not have control of the benefits arising from the operation of Tazara. Is the Honorable Minister in order to circumvent responding to a serious question that borders on a constitutional breach, and instead begin to lecture an MP who is concerned about the UPND government's adherence to constitutional provisions? I seek your serious ruling, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Lunte, we had actually finished the question by the Honorable Member for Kalabo. Then the Honorable Minister is still on the floor. The Honorable Member for Lunte, you haven't yet asked the question. You've got the floor to ask the Honorable Minister the question so that he can answer instead of raising a point of order. He is still on the floor.
Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, are you fair to my honorable brother from Karao? He asked you a question which will enable us become clear that you have your government has been able to adhere to constitutional provisions, and yet him. Why didn't your government decide to adhere to the provisions of the Article 210 of the Constitution in the process of coming up with this concession? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics, but let's stick to the ministerial statement.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you to the Honorable Member for Lunte for raising that question, which will no doubt give me this opportunity to elaborate, because obviously perhaps the ministerial statement has been misconstrued. I stated in the statement, Madam Speaker, Tazara remains a binational asset. There has been no selling, no transfer, no disposal, as the Honourable Member may impugn. Madam Speaker, the concession agreement is very, very specific, and that is why I said only 200 to 300 workers are moving to the concessionaire. And by law, because they will be moving to the concessionaire, all their severance package, terminal benefits will be paid. It means that majority of the workers remain working for Tazara. To just shed more light, what has been concession, Madam Speaker, is merely the freight business of Tazara. If we were selling Tazara, we would have come to the House indeed to speak to Article 210, as the Honourable Member refers. There has been no sale. There has been no transfer. There has only been an agreement which speaks to a component of the business, the freight, and, Madam Speaker, I've also stated for the record, throughout the period, there is a revenue sharing mechanism. This is a public-private partnership agreement. And honourable members will do well to follow these proceedings so that you do not mislead the Zambian people out there. Well, it's becoming very common, Madam Speaker, that when members have misunderstood, they then go out there and rumors and innuendo, a thing which we deem extremely regrettable. Madam Speaker,
the Honourable Member for Mwembeshi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Minister, for that statement. Minister, we have seen that in these projects, when they are actually happening in this country, the people, the local Zambians who wants to do some contracts with these companies, they work, it's like they are on the mercies of the owners. Is the concession including that these people are supposed to give contracts to the Zambians so that the Zambian companies can do some work during this time we are going to be doing this job? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
thank you very much, Madam Speaker, and thank you to the Honourable Member for that question. Madam Speaker, government policy remains that to every such contract, Madam Speaker, there is a component that is reserved for local contractors. And our Zambian people will do well to take keen interest in these concessions as they are being signed, and to also look out, particularly once construction has begun, that we do not sit on the sidelines, but that we avail ourselves and participate in obviously those tenders for subcontracts which shall be obviously made public. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Kaumbwe.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. Honourable Minister, we want to congratulate the new Dawn government for this very, 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 very important project. Many governments, for the Tazara, it was built in 1970s, and we have seen the Tazara deteriorating to the level where it is today, but today we have managed to secure this concession. The Tazara, just for the benefit of the nation, because I have been working for China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, which is the chief designer and even the concessionaire for 10 years. The Tazara is 1,860 kilometers. The beauty that it brings, that this project brings to the country, is that at Kapiri, there will be a logistic hub, just like the minister stated. The logistics hub means that when you import a car or anything, you'll be able to collect it at Kapiri. So your port of destination, when they're exporting that car, you just go and collect it at Kapiri. And your exports also,
What
you
is
got.
the question?
My question, Honourable Minister, I'm just excited anyway about this Tazara. My question, Minister, is there is no, for this revitalization project, there will be no passenger freight, passenger goods train. The design is allowing only freight. So, how do we take care of the passengers going into Dar es Salaam? Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you to my brother, the Honourable Member for Kaumbwe, who obviously has some passionate insights into Tazara, having worked for ECC for a good 10 years. Your question is so apt, my brother, because it really does help us once again shed some more light into how this entire agreement was structured. So whereas the focus indeed has been on freight operations, where we believe we have the best chance of structuring an economic model which avails the concessionaire an opportunity for a return on their $1.4 billion investment. But I also did refer in my statement to the support that is coming with this particular concession, and it was on the passenger coaches, which coaches I think that at the moment are in a rather dilapidated state, but that the concession agreement has put a component where a number of coaches shall be given to Tazara. And that is really to enhance even the passenger operations of Tazara, which will remain under Tazara. Now, we would like to believe that the reason why over the years our passenger business, the passenger side of business for Tazara equally went down, is that the core for any railway operation is the integrity of the track. Now, because over time we have allowed the integrity of the track to deteriorate, we introduced inefficiencies which did not make it attractive for any person to want to travel by train from Kapirimposhi to Nakonde or indeed to Dar es Salaam, because the guarantee for you to reach your destination wasn't there. You know, half the time there would be something that would happen that perhaps you would end up, you know, sleeping on the train for a number of days before proceeding on your journey. Now, with a properly rehabilitated track, with advanced locomotives and some of those passenger coaches, we believe that we'll be able to bring back those passengers that used to rely on Tazara as a mode of transport. I think that this will also afford us an opportunity. This growing trend where trucks from Tanzania, once they enter Zambia via Nakonde, you find that they begin to carry passengers. A thing which must not be tolerated. Okay? I think that we'll be able to stiffen our laws. That those signs we used to see on those trucks, no unauthorized passengers, we must get back to those days. So that even a humble of our citizen must be able to afford a ticket and indeed jump on a train. And that is what will bring back those numbers. That is what will increase you know, our income in the passenger business, apart from obviously what I spoke about, the fixed concession fee that will continuously support us in our operations and do away with what became, you know, synonymous, and that was support for government for salary arrears. That will be a thing of the past. So, Honourable Member, thank you for that brilliant question.
The Honourable Member for Kwacha.
Madam Speaker, thank you for the opportunity given to ask a follow-up question.
Order, Honourable
And also,
Member. There's an indication for a point of order. The Honourable Member for Solwezi West. Zambezi West, sorry.
Zambezi East, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I was seated quietly here, listening to the debate on the floor of the House and the questions that are coming from the members regarding this very important topic of which actually relates to a significant milestone in as far as this economy is concerned. Madam Speaker, Standing Order number 71 is very instructive on relevance of speech. The Honourable Member for Kaumbwe, who is an engineer, an expert in this field of railways, very well trained man who really understands these things. And I could see the excitement in him for such a very important milestone we have achieved for ourselves. Madam Speaker, and he is a PF Member of Parliament showing such excitement. Madam Speaker, is he in order to be very economical with his excitement, not to provide a comparison of what happened, the attempts that were made with just $120 million, which was wasted, with such a classical milestone achieved in the New Dawn administration? Is he in order to be very economical in that fashion without expressing his excitement using his expertise as a doctor in engineering? Madam Speaker, I seek your serious ruling.
The Honourable Member for Kaumbwe was very excited. He brought out his excitement to the floor, using his own views. So we cannot determine how far he can go. We don't know how far his excitement is. So the Honourable Member for Kaumbwe was in order. The Honourable, who was the member on the floor? Pacha? Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, once again. And Honourable Minister, we are grateful for that exciting initiative that this government has actually embarked on. Especially for the Committee on Transport, to which I'm a member. These are issues that we've been discussing, how to rehabilitate our rail infrastructure in the country. And with this statement, we are quite grateful. Now, Honourable Minister, once the rail infrastructure for Tazara has been put back, Are you coming up with a policy where the government will compel all the heavy cargo entering in Zambia through Great North Road to be shipped through Tazara so that we can save the huge costs on our road infrastructure that are being damaged by the heavy cargo that are coming via that road? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We just had 10 minutes just to allow the Minister to respond, and 2 more members. The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. It's very clear that there is excitement in the House. The Honorable Member asked the question ably stated in the ministerial statement. I did actually allude, and I spoke to statutory instrument number 35, which speaks to shipment of heavy cargo from the road subsector to the rail subsector. The statement actually did explicitly also make reference that so that we can save our road network from, heavy, trucks that are currently on our roads. Madam Speaker, it's truly a monumental achievement by this administration that had started to deal with this particular subject from the very time that we took over government courtesy of the Zambian people. And that perhaps one of the things that we may use this opportunity is to equally ask members to also focus on another milestone which has happened. Because when one other honorable member made reference to how this shall promote regional integration and promoting Zambia as a land-linked country, Madam Speaker, very recently we also made an announcement about 50 million euros that is coming into Zambia Railways, not as a loan, but as a grant. And I'll save this House the time, because I'm instructing my officials that we prepare another statement, this time on 50 million euro grant that is coming into Zambia Railways, which will basically now complement the work that we've done on Tazara, and that now finally we can see that Zambia's rail subsector is truly headed for greater days. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kabwe Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for that statement. Indeed, the Kapriposhi Logistic Hub is an exciting story, success story for Zambia, and I just want to congratulate the new Dawn government, the President of the Republic of Zambia, and your ministry for this achievement. Connectivity is very important for any country. I just want to now, and of course, because it's coming at a time when we also have got the 2.3 billion euros for Robito Corridor. It's really exciting. So I just want to find out, Minister, you said Zambia has got a revenue share of what's for the period of the whole 31 years of concession. Would you be able to tell us what is the percentage share that the Zambian people will get from this concession? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
And unfortunately, Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member asked a very specific question, and I must do everything possible not to give a half-truth. What I do know is that, yes, we do have a revenue sharing mechanism, which is something that is progressive over, the entire concession period, as it's dependent basically on the increase on the cargo volumes. The Honourable Member would do well perhaps to put in even a question where I would bring the specifics in terms of how that has been structured. Madam Speaker, thank you.
The Honourable Member from Pika.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity given to me to ask the Honorable Minister a follow-up question. And Honorable Minister, thank you so much for this ministerial statement that gives an update on the Tazara concession. Mpika being the regional headquarters for Tazara, we've got so much interest in the matter. And though I wish
you could take me along when you toured Tazara, particularly in Mpika. When Tazara was created in 1976 or so, if I'm not mistaken, it had the capacity to generate 10,000 to 14,000 jobs. And currently that capacity has been reduced to less than 3,000. Hence my question to you, Honorable Minister, is how many jobs will be created, if any, under the concession? And will the concession also improve the condition of service for Tazara workers? Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Madam Speaker, thank you so much, and thank you to Honourable Member for that question. Unfortunately, the Honourable Member makes a comment as to how he wishes he would have been gotten along as we went round in my town hall meetings with the workers at Tazara. The Honourable Member would have done well to avail himself and show interest in matters affecting his constituents. I think that we run an open door policy whenever we go to specific constituencies. We want to be inclusive, really, and involve those that are tasked with the responsibility of representing, their people. So you are not excluded, you are just not available. Coming to the other question that the Honourable Member speaks to, the statement did make a projection, first of all, about how much we anticipate that the cargo volumes will be able to grow from 400,000 metric tons, that within 2 years we'll be hitting 2.4 million metric tons, and that once we've covered a 5-year period, we should be looking at 3 million metric tons. Now, if you've run business before, you will know that that is not cast in stone. Your projection as to what we do know is that rail operations are indeed labor intensive. Our anticipation is definitely that along with cargo increase in terms of volume shall be job creation. We also spoke about the cargo logistics hub at Kapirimposhi, which too will come with more jobs. Now, to put specific numbers as to what we are targeting, I think that would be failing as people that are commercially astute to understand how these things are done, to give such an assurance on the floor of the House. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Narolo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Honorable Minister, I thank you for your statement. I just want to find out if the concession agreement will take up the historic debt of Tazara, and if so, how much of that debt? Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Once again, Madam Speaker, it's unfathomable that we may start to talk about a concessionaire being burdened with historical debt. In commercial terms, there's nowhere where such things happen. First of all, Tazara remains as a going concern to deal with its legacy issues. Hence, the utmost need that we commercialize, we revitalize, and that once again Tazara can begin to make money so that, it will be able to take care of some of the legacy debt that has been created over time. That even the two shareholder governments, once you are able to project the rate of growth in terms of revenue from such an asset, you would then even be able to comfortably be able to bail out such a particular asset. I think that it's basically impracticable. Here you are. Over the years when you are not here, we incurred debt, so pay for us. No, such things don't happen. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We've still got a minute. The member for...
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, thank you so much for your ministerial statement. And Madam Speaker, just to declare interest, I am a railman myself. And having worked for the same company that the minister has provided this ministerial statement, in case, Minister, you're not aware, I spent so many years in that company. as a young man and rose through the rank and file, and have lived on both sides of the divine of Tazara. So, Madam Speaker, I'm very conversant with that. Now, Minister, the issue here, you alluded to the issue of management. And when you look at Tazara, it has got 3 sets of cultures. You have the Chinese culture, you have Tanzania culture, which largely impacts on the deliverable of the management team. And I'm sure by now you might have been aware about that. This is an inside, outside this I can share with you a lot. So how do you plan these 3 cultures? It doesn't have the impact on the concessionaire. Because if this is not dealt with, Madam Speaker, negative effect on the concessionaire. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Transport and Logistics.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Thank you to the Honourable Member for sharing his invaluable insights into perhaps the cultural aspects of what may have impacted on the dismal performance of Tazara. Suffice to say, Madam Speaker, that the concession agreement is very, very specific. The concessionaire, because of the huge investments that they're putting in this particular company, shall be responsible for the operations of the freight of Tazara, freight business of Tazara. Means that the culture that we must be focused on is the Chinese culture. And we all know the Chinese culture. It is that of work and more hard work. There is no question about that. Responsibility for maintenance of the truck is also a preserve of the concessionaire. It will not be a Zambian culture or a Tanzanian culture where you send people to go and do repair works, they go into a village to do other things. No. So again, let us put focus on the Chinese culture. We will also come with the requisite experts that we hope will be able to transfer certain cultural attributes on our people. We will do well to learn from our colleagues who have demonstrated over the years how they have been able to grow their country and their economy to a level where now they are the 2nd largest economy in the world. And so we are more than happy as a government, and I'm sure I speak on behalf of our partner government, the government of Tanzania, that we made this move to get back to our original partners, the Chinese, because we will stand to benefit. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Presentation of Government Bill. The Honourable Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to present a bill titled the Immigration Control Bill number 18 of 2025. The objects of this bill are to A, continue the existence of the immigration and redefine its function. B, provide for the appointment of immigration border guards and provide for their functions. C, regulate the entry of persons into and departure of persons from the Republic. D, regulate the remaining immigrants within the Republic. E, repeal and replace the Immigration and the Deportation Act of 2010. And F, provide for matters connected with or incidental to the foregoing.
Let the bill be read the first time.
The Immigration Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025.
The bill stands referred to the Committee on National Security and Foreign Affairs. The committee is required to submit its report on the bill to the House in due course, and honourable members who wish to make submissions on the bill are free to do so within the program of work of the committee. We make progress. Questions for oral answer understanding order number 80. The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Question number 74.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I enable you to ask the Minister of Agriculture what measures the government is taking to improve the following in the agriculture farm blocks countrywide. Number one, food production, and number two, employment creation. Our response, Madam Speaker, is as follows. In order to improve food production in agriculture farm blocks countrywide, government is undertaking the following. Number one, attracting public and private investment. Number two, investing in infrastructure development, including the construction of roads and installation of electricity. Number three, promoting irrigation so that we can have at least 500,000 hectares of arable land under irrigation. Then ensuring optimal utilization of irrigation schemes, integrating new water management technologies, and trying to increase productivity from the current 1.7 tons to a better figure for the small-scale farmers. We are also engaged in the we have also engaged the Industrial Development Corporation to create structured investments, ready agricultural zones to attract private and local foreign investment in the farm blocks. Madam Speaker, attracting the private sector investments will ensure that we trigger increased employment opportunities in the farm blocks. Government is also undertaking the following: establishing agriculture mechanization centers, two, implementing a multi-sectoral approach to the farm block development model that will utilize irrigation schemes, resettlement schemes, schools, defense forces, wetlands, and commercial farmers. Three, Madam Speaker, training and linking farmers to existing government programs. And four, encouraging private sector investment in value addition, such as processing and packaging. All these efforts, Madam Speaker, are aimed to bring about employment creation as more manpower will be needed in the different approaches. I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Kalabo Central.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, if you were to rate the amount of investment in terms of infrastructure, that is roads, the means to irrigation, also I think including power, which is electricity distribution. If you are to rate, how much would you say has been done? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would say that significant work has been done in these areas. For example, Madam Speaker, I'll give just an example. 412 kilometers of roads are being worked on in the farm blocks. 50 kilometers of power, for example, has been done in Luena farm block in Luapula province. Madam Speaker, a total network of 2,620 agricultural camps, 469 agricultural farming blocks, 53 farming centers have been reactivated to support the sector. We are, Madam Speaker, operationalizing dams. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Water, we are all operationalizing dams and trying to make the dams more friendly for agriculture. We have a lot of water bodies, a lot of dams, but they were not prepared to support the farmers, especially the small-scale farmers. So we are working on that, and a lot of money is being put into that. Madam Speaker, in terms of mechanization, for example, I have come to the House to inform the House that we are aiming, we have targeted 6 mechanization centers in each district. That will give us almost 700 mechanization centers. And for the first time, quietly, Madam Speaker, we are buying tractors and taking them. All farm training centers in Zambia right now have got tractor services. Most of the provincial centers have got a center of excellency. So I would say significant work, Madam Speaker, and the amount of money is being invested. I thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for your answer to the people of Karabo. Honorable Minister, you have talked about revitalizing dams as a way of job creation in the agricultural value chain. I just wanted to know how this program is being rolled out, because in Mbabala constituency we've got almost all the dams were done during the Kaunda era, and they have all suited right now, and we have that challenge. The community in Kavimba has been calling me over Kapopo Dam and many other communities. We're actually working on 3 dams with the CDF and the Ministry of Water on one. But we have over 25 dams that need reworks from your ministry. Does your ministry have any plans to come to Mbabala constituency to help us fix these dams to create more agricultural value chain in terms of production? I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Yes, Madam Speaker. I would like to repeat this because it is very, very important for Zambia to know. Madam Speaker, a number of dams were constructed, but there was no facility to take the water and support the farmers. And that is what we are now focusing on. What is a dam for if you can't get the water to the farmers? Most of the dams are just being used by animals to go and drink, and that is it. A few dams are being used by the small-scale farmers for irrigation. So what we are doing now, I'll give an example of Sinazongwe. There are 3 very, very good systems there, where there are dams, but they are not being worked with. Imagine, Madam Speaker, since construction under the UNIP era, some of them, not even a drop of water went into the canals. So we are now going to reactivate those canals, to fix them, so that people can access the water and use it for irrigation. So what I would encourage the honorable members, may all the honorable members who have dams which are not being used for irrigation, just put it on paper and send, so that they can be history, and send to my office. Then we will be coming to see what we can do. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Kankoyo.
I thank you very much. Madam Speaker, I want to agree with the Minister of Agriculture on the importance of mechanization. I think in Mufrida, the results of the 5 tractors we bought through CDF are there to show. Just this year, FRA has managed to correct over 122,000 bags of maize from an average of 22,000 per year in the last 30 years. So you can see how much the tractors have transformed the agriculture. Yes, just today, the team from Karurushi is in Mufrida from your office to come and learn how mechanization has improved the agriculture in Mufrida. And we also received 2 tractors from the Minister of Agriculture, additional to make the tractors 7. However, the challenge we have is those tractors, Honorable Minister, received from your ministry, they remain parked because they are waiting for someone to come and officially handle them. We are in the rain season, we have good rains, and the tractors which you gave us to add on the 5 tractors, they're just parked because no one has come to handle them. When are you
So
going to
what
handle
is
them?
the question?
When are you coming to handle them so that farmers can continue benefiting from the mechanization program? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Madam Speaker, let me start by appreciating the fact that Kankoyo has given us 122,000 bags of maize from an average of 22,000, and this is all because of mechanization. Madam Speaker, hand and human power will take us nowhere. We need farm power in order to reach these levels. So well done, Kankoyo. There is another constituency which is doing very well in this, and that is Kanchivia. I'm encouraging the honorable members that now we have bought yellow machines, we have bought the graders, we have bought the road construction equipment. The next phase, let us buy tractors. Then Zambia will change. Zambia will change. Madam Speaker, if you go out now, any town, go and see the number of agro shops that are there. That shows that the country is in a right trajectory. Agriculture is what will change this country. So thank you very much, Kankoyo, for what you're doing. In terms of what you have said, I am saddened to hear that. When the tractors were brought to you, they were left with someone, and that person has been trained to use the tractors. So let us have a chat so that those tractors can be put to use. Here I am, feeling very well, nice that we are doing mechanization, and the 5 tractors are packed. That is not right. Let us discuss after this so that we can have those tractors operational. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister of Agriculture, the question that has been asked is referring to agricultural farm blocks. I wanted to understand these interventions that you've highlighted, ranging from mechanization, how we ensure that jobs are created, are they applicable to farm blocks that are designated by government, or these farm blocks where people in the constituency, because it's an area where they can do farming, and I'm using Kamfinsa as an example. We've got farmers who may not be designated in a designated farm block, but they're actually doing farming. They are either occupying part of the Mwekera forest, and they've been doing farming for the last 30 years without any ownership document. My question, Madam Speaker, when you say agricultural farm blocks, which farm blocks are you referring to? I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Agriculture.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and a very, very important question, because we tend to misunderstand each other. Madam Speaker, farm blocks in this country were created from the UNIP time. They have just different names. Some were created as a question of resettlement, so they will be called resettlement schemes. Some were created in order to create a development niche. They were given all sorts of names. So when we talk of farm blocks, we are not necessarily talk of the 10 which we tried very hard to promote. I'm talking of every arrangement where you have got a group of farms and these are involved in farming. Not where they were given land for farming, then they have put shops. No. But where there is agricultural activity going on. For example, Musekera in Chipata. For example, this place here in Chongwe, Kanakantapa. For example, Luena, which is a new one, in Luapula. Or what we want to create in Western Province. It's a pity my dear cousins are not here, the two, the general and the minister. So these, we are talking of groups of farmers. They don't necessarily need to be registered, but we have a duty to support them. So if there are areas like that in Kamfinsa, please, Honorable, come so that we see what we can do for them. I thank you.
Thank you. Next question, the Honorable Member for Petauke Central.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Question number 75.
The Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Petauke Central asks the Minister of Youth and Sport whether the government has any plans to provide additional funding for the completion of Petauke Stadium in Petauke District. B, if so, when the plans will be implemented, and C, if there is no such plans, why? Our response, Madam Speaker, the area member of parliament may wish to note that the ministry has no plans to finance the construction of Petauke Stadium in Nyika Ward. Further, the area member of parliament may wish to note that the construction of the Petauke Stadium in Nyika Ward is entirely, and I emphasize, entirely funded under the Constituency Development Fund in the phased approach. Madam Speaker, the construction works have been contracted at a sum of 524,384 kwacha 39 Ingwe. Additionally, the area member of parliament may wish to know that the phase 1 funding of the works has already been allocated under the 2026 CDF budgetary phase, and to this end 212,148 Ngwe of the total contracted sum has been paid, leaving a balance of 312,237.35 Ngwe, which has been considered for funding in the next year budget cycle under CDF. B, Madam Speaker, as indicated in A, the Honorable Member of Parliament may wish to note that the ministry has no such plans. Nevertheless, it is the desire of government to have state-of-art sport infrastructure in all our provinces, districts, to support the implementation of the community sport, a function which the Ministry of Youth, Sport and Heart devolved to the local authorities. And C, as is stated above, the ministry has no such plans. However, Madam Speaker, I would like to commend the area member of parliament for Petauke for taking up construction of that sport facility under CDF. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Supplementary questions. The Honorable Member for Kamfinsa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Acting Minister of Sports, you are aware that the cost of modernizing or upgrading a sports facility is quite colossal. It's not a small amount of money. And obviously for the area member of parliament for Petauke to take the initiative to commence these works under CDF with the community, it clearly shows, Madam Speaker, that there's a need coming from the community. The question is basically asking government to add to the Constituency Development Fund allocation. Is it possible that based on the work that they've done as Petauke, the ministry should now be able to say, this is where the funding gap is, can we also add something extra to ensure that the modernization, Honorable Minister, is properly achieved? Madam Speaker, that was the question from the Member of Parliament from Petauke, and I hope that the Minister can clarify if provision can be made for supplementary funding. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Madam Speaker, there is no supplementary funding. This year's our main priority as a ministry is to rehabilitate the two stadiums, Euro Stadium and Mwanawasa Stadium, and the total amount allocated to that is 9 million. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Shiwanganda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I appreciate the response from the Acting Minister of Sports. Honorable Minister, We appreciate that you are filling in the gap for your counterpart. I think the rider to the supplementary question coming from Honorable MP for Kamfinsa is that the Honorable MP for Petauke has already commenced some works, but he was asking for plans to do these stadiums. Is there a possibility that you as a ministry can supplement the initiative of the Honorable Member, knowing very well that the Constituency Development Fund has got so many areas to cover, and if it has to be meaningful, he has to probably allocate the whole entire annual CDF allocation to this project in order for it to be properly rehabilitated. But is there a possibility that you as a ministry, realizing that he has initiated the initiative, you can find a way of supplementing the efforts of the Honorable Member, because that's a public infrastructure? I think that was the gist of the question. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Madam Speaker, I've indicated that the balance will be given out in the next phase, which is 2026, and the CDF. So there is no such plans in the ministry to, additional funding to that, infrastructure in Petauke. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
The last member, the Honorable Member for Kankoyo.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think as the chairman of Committee on Youth and Sport, we value so much what sports can do to this country. So I'm here to plead to the minister to consider the request from Petauke to ensure that they are supported, because it's from such cities like Petauke and Chipata where we have stars like Fashion Sakara who came from there. So there's so much power which we can tap from those untapped talents in the districts which are off the line of rail. Honorable Minister, would you consider to give Petauke more money to finish the project, which is very critical to achieve our sport agenda? I thank you.
The Acting Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Madam Speaker, I think this question is just coming and popping out every time. But as I indicated, that we do not have additional funding, and that's a fact. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. We make progress. The next question. The Honorable Member for Namwala.
Madam Speaker, with pleasure, question number 76.
The Acting Minister of Defense.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Member for Namwala constituents asked the Honorable Minister of Defense the following questions. A, how many military personnel were separated from the employer in unclear circumstances from January 2016 to August 2021? C, whether any of the affected officers have been reinstated. D, if so, how many have been reinstated? And E, if none have been reinstated, why? Madam Speaker, our response is as follows. A, the number of military personnel who were separated from the employer in unclear circumstances from January 2016 to August 2021 were 73 in total. This figure is broken down as follows. 1, Zambia Army 23. 2, Zambia Air Force 13. And 3, Zambia National Service 37. Madam Speaker, the response to question B is yes. C, 28 of the affected personnel were reinstated during the period under review, and these as follows. Zambia Army 10, Zambia Air Force 6, Zambia National Service 12. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform this August House that 45 were not reinstated due to various reasons, such as non-provision of clear evidence to support their claim. It is also important to note that some affected personnel are still applying for consideration. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you. Supplementary questions? The Honorable Member for Namwala.
Thank you so very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to find out whether those who were instated were called back at the same rank or I thank you.
The Acting Minister of Defense.
Madam Speaker, if you are reinstated, you are reinstated to the same rank you are holding.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kasenengwa.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. Through you, Madam Speaker, I wish to seek clarification from the Minister of Defense. Officers were dismissed under unclear circumstances. Some were reinstated, some were not. Honorable Minister, what is the definition of unclear circumstances in your explanation? Because in those unclear circumstances, some were considered for reinstatement and some were not. So, Madam Speaker, I wish to know the definition of unclear circumstances, which favors others and disadvantages others. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Acting Minister of Defense.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's a notorious fact, but that during the reign of the PF, they used to retire officers and public workers in national interest. And in most instances, there were no reasons being given apart from being relieved under that particular provision. And those are the unclear circumstances. When officers applied to be reinstated, they were interviewed, evidence was tendered, those who were found suitable and the evidence was clear, they were reinstated.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Chama North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Minister, it's unfortunate that defense personnel officers are being retired or in national interest unfairly.
Order, Honorable Member. As the time is 10:40 hours, I suspend business for 20 minutes.
For still being with us on television, business of for a 20 minutes health break, and we expect the business of the House to resume at about 11 hours. And at the time, Madam Speaker was suspending business for a 20 minutes health break. On the floor of the House was the Chairman of Member of Parliament, Mr. Yota Mutachalo, posing a question to the Acting Minister of Defense. This is in line with the question that Namwala Member of Parliament, Mr. Herbert Mabani, has directed to the Minister of Defense, where he wanted to find out how many military personnel were separated from the employer in unclear circumstances from January 2016 to August 2021, and whether any of the affected officers have been reinstated, and if so, how many were reinstated as of August 2025, and if none have been reinstated. While the Minister has already given responses to the questions, and when business resumes, we expect Chairman of Member of Parliament to continue posing his question to the Acting Minister of Defense.
Yes, and the question for oral answer will continue after the break. So, Matimba, we have a look at what has been discussed so far on the floor of the House from the time the House started sitting at 9 hours, starting with the announcements. There were two announcements that were rendered on the floor of the House, with one of them in which Madam Speaker had reminded the House that she had announced that the Interparliamentary Union IPU Zambia National Group would hold its annual general meeting AGM on Monday, 10th November 2025. However, it is regrettable that the AGM could not take place due to a lack of quorum, and in view of the foregoing, she informed all the honorable members that the AGM would now take place on Wednesday, 19th November 2025 at 08 hours in the amphitheater at Parliament buildings. She encouraged all honorable members actually to take this as this announcement as seriously by attending the AGM.
In the other announcement, Madam Speaker informed the House that she had received communication to the effect that in the absence of Her Honor the Vice President, who is attending to other government business, the Minister of Defense, Honorable Ambrose Eolufuma MP, has been appointed acting leader of government business in the House from today, Friday, 14th November 2025, until further notice.
And there was a ministerial statement that was rendered on the floor of the House, and this was rendered by the Minister of Transport and Logistics, and this was on the Tazara Revitalization Concession Agreement. Details of the ministerial statement will come later.
We also had one presentation of government bill. This is the Immigration Control Bill, National Assembly Bill number 18 of 2025, which was presented by the Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security. And so far, this is business that has been considered on the floor of the House. Just now, we go on a break. Remember, business of the House will resume at 11 hours. Keep watching Parliament Television. Good morning.